It's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel is all conversation-based, so it gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
You'll really see a difference in how you can speak and how conversational you can be in just a few weeks.
Babbel isn't just lessons. You can listen to podcasts, play games, watch videos. You can even take live online classes with a language teacher. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel.
The lessons online and in the app make it easy to learn from pretty much anywhere.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Listen, you can't handle the truth.
It's about to go off.
Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare Studios.
Just a bit outside.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call now at 615-844-5600.
Oh, righty then.
Now, the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
And a good Thursday afternoon to you. And yes, it is time for the McFarland Show here on WNSR. Darren and Justin here with you. Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio on this gorgeous Thursday here in Middle Tennessee. And
absolutely beautiful outside.
No, I was talking about inside here in the studio. It's beautiful inside here in the studio. Because outside, it's a big old pile of poo.
It's not bad if you're a duck. If you're a duck, this is great.
Or if you're looking for a free car wash, today's your day.
Yeah, man, there's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah, I came in today and I could see where the rain was.
Yeah,
like coming in. Yes, yeah. Coming from Rutherford County to here, I could see where the rain was starting. Of course, then everyone also ahead was slamming on their brakes, like they didn't know what to do when raindrops started hitting their car on the interstate. What do I do here?
I don't know.
You keep driving. Turn your wipers on. This is how this works. It's okay.
It's just water.
You have a roof.
It's just they believe it or
windows.
not, they designed the car to be able to deal with this situation.
Deal with the elements, yes.
They ran tests and the whole thing.
Yes, it's crazy. So you can do it. You can do it.
Yes.
You can do it.
Slow down a little bit.
We'll try to bring a little sunshine in your life today. There's no sunshine, I think, in today's forecast. By the way, in all seriousness,
yes,
watch it, right? Because this could get a little messy.
We had a severe thunderstorm warning expire just as we came on the air just now.
Is there another round or anything else coming?
No, this is it.
That was it?
Well, this is it. We're in the middle of it now. Yes. Something like that. As we speak, if you're listening to us down there on 107.9 in Murfreesboro and Smyrna, you're about to get hammered right now. It is pouring right now in Smyrna, in Laverne, and Murfreesboro is right on the edge of some pretty rough stuff that's going to be coming in. No warnings. This is just your run-of-the-mill thunderstorm. It's going to be a light show, though. Lots of lightning up there in the sky.
We've got a great show for you. Devlin is alongside across the room. He is all the way across the room here in the studio. And we're going to talk with Jim Wyatt coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll talk about this Titans team that is officially in their offseason. And, man, lots of things swirling about them. We told you this week that, and remember, Jim Wyatt is caught up with Amy Adams-Strunk, so we'll have him tell us and tell you out there listening about his conversation. But we learned that Adam Peters, cross him off your list. Cross him off.
That's right.
And the latest one that I saw is Ian Rappaport tweet out shortly before the show that I guess Quentin Harris, who is the vice president of player personnel for the Arizona Cardinals, will interview here on Saturday.
Okay.
Today is in-house interviews.
Okay.
So Ryan Cowden,
Yeah.
Monty Ossenfort will be interviewing today.
All right.
The in-house candidates will be interviewing for the GM position.
Titans working weekends here.
Yes, how
on
about
Saturday.
that?
Yeah, they're trying to get this done.
How about that?
Well, listen, if you sleep on the wrong guy, it's real easy that somebody will hire them. You kind of, and I've heard this, and I know Darren, you have too. Sometimes the guy walks into the building, you talk to him, and he's the guy, and then you just say, you know what? We can't let him leave the building without offering him a job. If we let him walk out of here, who knows? We found him, and we don't want anybody else to find him. We got to lock him down right now, and that can happen at any point. So if it takes a Saturday, fine. Do it on a Saturday.
I learned many years ago when Peyton Manning was doing his tour. Remember when his tour stop
I
came
remember
through here?
that. Yes, sir. I was outside of the facility.
I was going to say, if you lived here, which was all you do is what? Grab your camera and walk across the street?
It's right down the block. Yeah, not too far.
If you lived here, you remember that when Peyton Manning came to town? It was crazy.
Circus.
Crazy.
Circus.
That's when I learned, I really like Mike Reinfeld as a person. I think he's a really good guy. If you've ever been around him, super nice guy. Was a heck of a player in his day. But I really had serious doubt about him being a general manager whenever I learned from people who were, camped out there the entire day and the entire night. Like, as you know, people didn't leave. Not till Peyton left.
Nope.
The problem was the facility was designed a little bit differently than it is today.
It is.
One way in, one way out.
Yep.
And somebody left a little bit early that day.
Yeah.
That would be their GM. And I was like, oh. Like, today's not 9 to 5 day. Today is...
I've forgotten that part of the story.
Yeah.
Okay, but I do remember that. Right. Now that you mention it, I remember that part.
And today's the day you go home late, or whenever Peyton leaves. That's when you go home.
Yeah, after Peyton leaves.
Yeah.
Which was not that late. I mean, it wasn't like Peyton was there all night or anything.
No, he didn't leave at midnight.
No.
But the GM left before Peyton did. I was like, not good. That's not a good look.
Yeah, well.
Not a good look. But that was a crazy time.
Oh, man. And then, my favorite part of that is Peyton wearing the little hint of orange to kind of mess with everybody. Now, I'm sure if he was sitting across here, he'd be like, oh, I didn't mean anything. No, yes, you did. Yes, you did, sir. Yes, you did. You wore a little orange accent there to make everybody just, give everybody a little hope and, and give the fans what they came to see. So,
I know I've talked to people that I trust, and I believe it, and I don't think it's far-fetched at all. If the organization would have had their stuff more buttoned up and more together, there's a very good chance that, history would have been different.
I've heard different things about that.
He wouldn't have gone to Denver and gone to 2 Super Bowls and won a Super Bowl as a Broncos quarterback that, then maybe he would have come here. But I've heard that, and look, it was true. I mean, Bud was getting, Bud was not prevalent anymore. He was getting, he was in his 80s, and I don't think his health was great. Yeah. And he wasn't around much, and I think there was real concerns about the direction of the franchise. Look, you're not interviewing Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's interviewing you.
Yeah, at that point. Yeah.
He didn't come here to get interviewed.
Yeah.
If you are asking questions, he's asking just as many questions as you are.
Yeah.
And because that's how Peyton Manning rolls, right? I mean, he's not just like, hey, okay, sure, whatever you need to know, ask me. Ask
Mike
away.
Munchak was the head coach at the time.
He was.
I've heard a lot of different things about that entire episode, and one thing I heard is that Peyton didn't want to play the Colts twice a year and go through all the dog and pony of playing the Colts twice a year. Which was...
I'm sure that was a factor.
A factor
sure.
that he just didn't feel like doing all that. And, the other part about it wasn't so much what the Titans did or did not do, but the thought of being able to play for John Elway was a kind of a big deal to him, is what I've also heard, that no matter what the Titans did, it wasn't going to be able to defeat, John Elway, sitting there in the stadium and going one-on-one with Peyton, because you just don't have anybody in the building with that kind of thing to him that John Elway is. Mike Munchak is a Hall of Famer as well, but not like John Elway. And, and not if you're a quarterback looking to move to a franchise. So, and listen, and maybe who knows what the real reasons are, but those were the two that I heard over and over again about why Peyton did not come here.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it would have been a foregone conclusion if things were a little bit more buttoned up and things weren't where they were. I'm just saying that heavily contributed to him not choosing here. Look,
fair enough. Yeah.
Peyton knows the lay of the land in this state. He knows how important, right? He knows what his presence is in the state. You're talking about beloved. He's already beloved, but can you imagine what it would have elevated him to, right?
Listen, he's already so beloved. We talked last week that people think he won the national championship.
Right. Look, if he would have won the Super Bowl here as the starting quarterback of the Titans.
Listen.
Forget about it.
We would literally be living right now in the state of Peyton.
Yes.
We would be in Nashville, Peyton.
It would no longer be Nashville or Tennessee.
It'd just be, we live in the city of Peyton in the state of Manning. City of Peyton, state of Manning.
It would be C. Peyton would be the state. That'd be the new state name. C. Peyton. And I guess the Manning Titans.
I don't know. Maybe so. I guess so. Why not?
I think that also is what I heard, that he wanted to have some ownership stake too. Did you ever hear that? I heard that.
I've heard they offered it to John Elway as a part of his deal there in Denver, and at the time he turned it down and over the other stuff. I've heard that he was kind of looking for that somewhere. I don't know if he ever got it, but I've heard that he was looking for that opportunity. But that wasn't going to happen here. Bud was not going to give Peyton a piece under any circumstance.
Nope. Was not going to happen. Tonight, the Predators are in Montreal. They're going to close out the 5-game road trip against the Canadiens, and they're going to be honoring P.K. Subban.
Wow.
Before the game. So a big to-do in Montreal, and wow, isn't it weird that it's the Preds?
Yeah.
That's not weird, because that's what they handpicked that on purpose. So Preds and Montreal, the two organizations that had obviously the biggest part in his career, that meant the most to him and played the biggest part in his career, and so they will honor him tonight. So it'll be a very, very special night in Montreal tonight around the Habs and the Preds.
Very, very cool. And we talked about it off air, I think, last week. It's always cool when you have one of the original 6 teams that you end up playing, which Montreal is one of them. Because they always have that throwback feel to them, no matter what year it is, no matter what they do. You're watching them, you're watching a little history skate around the ice, just a little bit, because of how long they've been playing hockey and how deep those hockey roots run.
Yep, that's right. So that'll be fun. And we'll have Alex Doherty on at 3 o'clock to talk about the Preds. Tough one last night. They lose late in Toronto to the Leafs. They give up a 4-minute power play due to a double minor. He did the high stick. He had blood. When he had blood, he literally held up four fingers. Like, that's 4 minutes. You just
made him pay.
Yep, and they made him pay.
Mercy.
Power play goal by Toronto, and they skate away with the 2-1 victory. So we'll talk to Alex Doherty at 3 o'clock. Back to the GM search. I said Ryan Calton, Austin Fort today. So in-house candidates today. Rand Carthen will be tomorrow.
Okay.
Coming from the 49ers. And then Saturday, like you said, they're working through the weekend. Ian Cunningham of Dub Bears and Quentin Harris, I already mentioned, from the Cardinals. So a couple of interviews on Saturday. Terry McCormick putting out an article on TitanInsider.com. He joined us, was it yesterday or the day before?
Day before.
Yeah, the day before on this show. He said that Pat Sperduto should be on their list of potential candidates to hire. Or interview.
I mean, he's got the experience for sure. And, of course, he's the roots are here for him as well. But for whatever the reason, because I thought maybe they may have gone for him a little bit earlier than this, maybe around the time they hired John Robinson, and they didn't. So to me, if it didn't happen then, I don't know why it would happen now. The Chiefs have had a lot of success since then as well, so maybe that could be a change. But clearly not. Clearly they wanted to go in another direction here, and who knows exactly why that is.
Yep.
But Terry did promise by the end of next week, where he felt like, and he didn't promise, he felt like the Titans would make a hire by the end of next week.
And it feels like that's probably going to be true.
The timeline certainly seems to be holding that way. If you start doing interviews now, you sit down, you talk, maybe sleep on it, then you start, getting the list down, and maybe you do a second round of interviews. Maybe it's in person, maybe it's over the phone, who knows? Then you make your decision, you make your offer, and see.
While we're pro Pat, I think at this point, if they were going to add another name to the list, I feel like the list is out there for a reason. That's their list, and that's what they're going with. Somebody's going to get hired from that list, I would think.
Well, not necessarily, Darren. Like I do, that the list doesn't always have to be, these aren't the only people we talk to. They could have talked to a number of people that weren't on the list at all, that they could have reached out to. The list doesn't have to be made public.
Do you have an example of that?
Where what?
Where just somebody out of the blue, like, they Wednesday they announce it's going to be, the guy from the Eagles. What? What?
First of all, not this organization. No, this organization, absolutely not. I feel like other organizations have been able to hire guys under the radar. But this organization, no.
Well, under the radar suggests that there wasn't really anything out there, period, and where everybody's wondering, what are they doing? And then they come up with a hire. Like, I feel like this list is out there for a reason, right? Like, everybody, it would be weird to think that they have a secret candidate, don't you think?
I mean,
I know what you're saying. I understand that is the case. That has happened. I kind of feel like it's happened where nothing was getting out there. Like everybody was in the dark. What are they doing?
I see.
And then all of a sudden, poof! Hey, this is who we've hired.
Guy.
Yeah.
So in your mind, if they announce a list, then this is the whole list.
I kind of feel like it's out there for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. So that's just my gut feeling.
Maybe so.
Yeah. Real quick. Speaking of the Bears, they are expected to name Kevin Warren as their new president and CEO. Yes. They're like, Kevin Warren, that name sounds familiar. Yes, it does, because he's been the Big Ten commissioner.
Yes.
So that's why the name sounds familiar.
Yes. Also involved with the Minnesota Vikings organization, helped to build U.S. Bank Stadium there in Minnesota, which is something the Chicago Bears are trying to do right now. They're working on building a brand new stadium in Arlington Heights, which is to the north of Chicago. And they've bought a piece of land out there, around 300 acres, where they're looking to build their own stadium. So I think they wanted someone with that kind of experience to be in the house, and now they've got him to see what can happen here. He's also a football guy, and the way this works in the NFL, not all of the team presidents are football folks. I think we talked about it the other day. Sometimes they're just business people or lawyers or, people with some, decent administration experience. So we'll see how it goes there for the Bears.
We'll come back. Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com. We'll talk all things Titans with Jimmy. We'll do that next.
Nashville's first curling venue is here at T-Line Nashville. Come check out T-Line Nashville and experience the world's fastest growing winter sport today. Curling is a fun and simple sport that's a perfect outing for friends, corporate events, families, or parties. T-Line also has classic bowling and modern bowling mini games. With over 20 HD TVs, you can come watch your favorite teams and some of the best food and drinks here in Nashville in the large bar and grill area. They also have an outdoor area with a fire pit, and you can't forget the live music. T-Line Nashville is a one-stop shop for a great night out. Located at 106 Duluth Avenue and online at tlinenash.com. You can book your party now or give them a call at 615-439-1024. That's 615-439-1024. And make sure you give them a follow on Instagram and Facebook at T-Line Nash for all the news, events, and updates. T-Line Nashville. Nashville's first curling venue is here.
Douglas is a real Prevagen user and paid testimonialist.
My name is Douglas. I'm 79 and I live in Chicago. I'm a writer, director. I used to be a marathon runner. Now I'm a walker. In the kind of work that I do, you are surrounded by people who are all younger than you. Memory became a factor. As everyone gets older, where did I put my keys? But I had to get help to stay competitive. I happened across Prevagen, and I started taking it. I saw myself having an improved memory, which at the same time, I felt better about myself. I could not be doing what I'm doing today had it not been for Prevagen.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life. Prevagen is available in stores everywhere. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who were cognitively normal or mildly impaired, this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Greg Pogue back once again to tell you about Bongo Java, Nashville's oldest and most celebrated coffee company, now also located in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Reward yourself for surviving Nashville traffic with fresh, locally roasted coffee, classic handcrafted espresso drinks, and fresh baked goods all day long. And free Wi-Fi, so you don't have to work from home. Number one in customer service. You made it through the traffic. Reward yourself with a perfect pick-me-up at Bongo Java. Fresh coffee, delicious treats, great atmosphere. Open 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. daily. Bongo Java at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
It's the afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
Coming off his second straight SEC win, this one at the bank. Clark Lee, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, this is my favorite time of the week to be with you guys, so I'm happy to be here.
If you think that's not going to be on a promo, Clark, you are sadly mistaken,
Clark,
sir.
you just made the haters so furious, so thank you very much.
The afternoon stretch. Afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
Back here on the McFarland Show, Darren and Justin here with you on this rainy Thursday. But we're here to be a ray of sunlight for you until 4 o'clock. That's the plan. You can watch us, by the way, on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Justin's giving you the thumbs up. Let's bring in our man, Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com. He recently caught up with Amy Adams Strunk. Jimmy, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah, we're doing fine. How did that all come about? Coming up, getting a chance to talk with, as they call her, Miss Amy.
Yeah, I think, the process was just getting ready to get started and knew that there would be a wide range of interviews on the verge of taking place. And so wanted to kind of talk to her about the process and what she's looking for and who would be maybe included in the hiring and what she was looking for in a GM. And I thought it was pretty insightful about what she said. And then later that day, the national guys started reporting exactly who was coming to town. So
yeah.
It was well timed.
She used the word collaboration a lot. So what was your takeaway from that word?
Yeah, I think, without, and again, this is not anything she told me, but just what I've observed and what I feel like maybe was the case previously is that maybe, with John Robinson at the helm, and he did a lot of good things, certainly, is responsible for some of the team's, star players being here. We all know about some of the draft failures. They also had some hits, but I think, I think that maybe there was not as much collaboration there as there should have been regarding, draft picks or free agent signings. And I think that moving forward, that's something that's very important to everybody involved in this process, from the owner to the head football coach to the members of the scouting department, which will take shape depending on who the new GM is. And I think that's the way you have everybody on the same page. Again, I'm not saying that was necessarily the case on every decision that was made here over the last several years, but I do get the sense that that's something they want to see happen with great regularity. And I'll be interested to see who the next GM is and how that working relationship unfolds from that point, from the point he's hired moving forward.
You know how this works, Jim. You've covered GM hires for a long time in this market, and more than likely, more times than not, unless he used to play for the organization like Mike Reinfeldt did, but overall, John Robinson. Okay, you hear John Robinson's name, you're like, okay, who's that? Let's go Google him. Let's look at his wiki if he has one. Oh, okay, he spent a long time with the Patriots. He's with the Bucks. What I'm getting at is we don't really know much about candidates, right? GM hire candidates. So I know when this list has come out, you probably have done a deep dive into, about these guys. Now we know Adam Peters is no longer in the mix. He said that to the Titans and the Cardinals, he's not going to interview. But of everybody else, the in-house guys are interviewing today, so I know you know about them. But the other 5, what have you been able to uncover? When you've looked, or asked around? I don't know what you've done to find out more about these candidates. What have you discovered?
Well, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, because a lot of times when a GM is hired, it's kind of in some ways like head coaches that are hired. Some of them are established guys that have been in those positions before, but a lot of times it's guys who are kind of working their way up and building a reputation, in the league, and then finally, they are the next in line to get a shot. And I think the candidates who have been identified so far, and Glenn Cook, one of them from the Browns, Rand Carlson from the 49ers, Ian Cunningham from the Bears, Quentin Harris from the Cardinals, Malik Boyd from the Bills. Those are all that have been mentioned in addition to Ryan Calvin and Monty Ossenford. I think all those guys have kind of paid their dues in this league. And I think sometimes people look at, where they're working right now and want to cast judgment on that. Like, why would you hire a guy from this team? They're so-and-so. Or why would you hire a guy from this team? They're not doing that great. But I think you have to look at their body of work. And I think in each of these cases, these guys have kind of established themselves, some more than others, obviously, but have established themselves kind of working their way up the ranks and putting themselves in a position where they have become worthy candidates. And now it's a matter of the organization figuring out which one of these guys is the best fit at this time in their career path, which one is the best fit to work with Mike Vrabel, which one is the best fit to kind of being on the faces of this franchise moving forward. And I think that's what's going to be, discovered through this process, which, is now underway, and we'll see how long it goes. But I don't think the team, would like to have somebody in place sooner rather than later, although it's been very clear, and Amy said this herself, that she doesn't want to rush into it. And it sounds like it's going to be in 2 rounds. I think the first round, you narrow it down to a couple of candidates, and then from there, you get serious about who you're going to hire.
So, okay, you may have just answered my next question. Justin and I have been trying to figure out, okay, what's going to come first? Do you believe the GM hire is going to come first as of the next piece of news? Like maybe they've said, hey, Mike, be doing all your stuff behind the scenes, be thinking about it or whatever, but let's get the GM in place first before you start filling your holes, or, what do you think? How do you think that's going to play out?
I mean, with this is me thinking without any feedback from anybody on this, because that's not something I asked Amy Adams Strunk, because when I talked to Amy, it was, the decision at offensive coordinator had not even been made. So, or at least Mike Vrabel had not informed Todd Downing of the news then. I think that the GM hire will come first, just because, again, it started. I think you've identified the candidates you want to talk to, and I expect the first round of interviews to be done sometime early next week, and then you're into the second round, and then you could potentially have a hire before too long. I think with Mike Vrabel, I don't think, he's not going to have a committee. That's one thing Amy said. It's going to be her, and it's going to be Kenneth Adams, who's part of the ownership group, and Adolfo Birch and Dan Worley and Bert Nahill and Mike Vrabel later in the process. And, that's a committee of people working on this GM search. I think Mike Vrabel's call at OC is pretty much going to be his. I mean, obviously he's not working independently. He has to run everything by Amy and other people involved in hiring processes. But I think it's up to him to identify the people he wants to talk to. And I don't know how long that list is going to be. I don't know whether it potentially involves people who are still playing football this season and whether he's going to have to wait on people. But I don't think he has to wait until a GM is hired to do it. And so I mean, I expect, but I do expect the GM to be hired before that happens, and then we'll go from there.
We're speaking with Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com. So, one, tell us what you did in the locker room before the Jacksonville game. This was last week with Josh Dobbs. What did you give him, and how did that feel for you being a UT grad and the president of the Anchor Down Club? Like, that's conflicted for you, right? Like, handing a UT guy, but you went there, but you root for Vanderbilt. Like, how did that dynamic work?
Well, I didn't give him anything. He gifted me a UT.
Oh, he gifted you. So I didn't understand. Yeah. Okay, I was lost on the video. So my apologies. That's why I'm asking you. Yeah. So he gave you a UT jersey?
Well, the first day he got here, and I'll take you back to the beginning. The first day he got here, I asked the first question out of the media scrum. Asked him a question about what led him here and then the challenge, and he looked at me and he saw I was wearing a Vandy, Vanderbilt Star V visor, and before he even answered the question, he kind of made a funny remark that I need to get you a new visor, and which was funny. I mean, because I didn't, I certainly have a sense of humor, and I think Josh Dobbs is a really classy guy. He did it in a way that I thought was really funny. And one of the guys from A to Z Sports, shot a video of that and sent out and zeroed in on my Vandy visor, and that generated a little bit of stir there that Josh Dobbs comes in and immediately is kind of having a little humor about him. So,
was the Dodgers visor getting washed? Why were you wearing the Vandy visor?
Well, I kind of altered. Well, it's funny. I retired the Dodger visor for a week or so because I wore the LA visor, the week of the LA Chargers game, and a couple of the players were giving me some grief. Like, what are you doing wearing an LA visor before we played the Chargers? So then the next week, I couldn't wear the LA visor after they lost to the Chargers. So I just kind of put the LA visor aside for a little while and started wearing the Star V visor again. So that's the week that Josh Dobbs showed up. So I was wearing my Vandy visor. He makes his kids about that. Said he's going to get me a new visor. And then after the Texans game, which was his first start in the locker room, he even told me, "Hey, I got you a present I'm going to give to you," which I thought, I know what this is going to be. But then, of course, everything happened with DeMar Hamlin on Monday night. I suspect that he didn't want to do anything. That wasn't in a mood to joke around or to try to make light of anything. It was a somber locker room after that happened. But at the end of last week, I guess the timing was better and the mood was better around the team, that he saw me standing with a big group of media, and he presented me with the UT visor, and which I thought was funny, and everybody filmed it and certainly created a lot of buzz, and I didn't put it on. I kept it I took it out and took a picture with him, but I put it back in the box, and then I explained to him. And of course, people that know me know I've been a Vanderbilt fan my whole life, and after that, the biggest thing that came out of that was, well, how's this guy, go to UT and become a Vandy fan? I didn't go to UT and become a Vandy fan. I was a Vanderbilt fan since I was about 6, 7 years old before when my dad started taking me to games out there because he went to law school there. So I've just been loyal to to the team I grew up rooting for, and I'll always be a Vandy fan. And but I did appreciate the kind gesture, and I thought Josh Dobbs, I just really enjoyed being around him for the last 3 weeks of the season because he's such a good guy. He's got a good sense of humor, and I thought that was kind of a funny, lighthearted moment during his last couple of weeks here.
That is very cool. I also know you're a huge Visor fan as well. Very rarely have I ever seen Jim. He's either a Visor or nothing. Like, I don't even see Jim in baseball caps, like, ever. It's either Visor or we're just going without. But I don't want to talk about that, Jim, because our time is limited.
You're right. I mean, I've transitioned. Like, if you look at my Twitter bio, there's a picture of Eddie George and myself, and I'm wearing my L.A. Visor. In that picture, it was a regular hat. But I think as time went on, I transitioned to the Visor because it's kind of cooler, during the hot summer days, and because it's easier to kind of store a pencil on top of it as well. So I have transitioned, Justin, to pretty much being a Visor guy.
Yeah.
Either Visor or no Visor.
It's your trademark, my man.
If you're watching the show right now, you're sandwiched in the middle between Justin and I, and you've got your visor on.
Got the visor on.
Got the visor on.
Jim, I wanted to ask you, what is an offensive skill assistant?
Yeah, well, you're talking about someone, Eric Frazier, who is not here, and he one of the 4 coaches, along with Todd Downing, Keith Carter, Anthony Midget, who's not retained by Mike Vrabel, and he pretty much had his fingerprints or hands on working with different players and exactly what he was supposed to do with those guys. I don't know if that was ever real clear, but he did his best to help improve some of the skilled players on this team, and I'll be curious to see whether that's a position that is filled by Mike Vrabel moving forward, or just exactly what happens there.
Yeah, the funny thing about this GM search, Jim, is trying to figure out who these guys were to their organization, because you're interviewing, in many cases, assistant GMs or director of player personnel and this, that, the other. And it's kind of hard sometimes to define, okay, well, what does that really mean in that organization? What does that guy do? Or do they all do the same thing pretty much in every organization?
I think it's different in each spot. Like, the couple of guys like Ron Cowden, who's vice president of player personnel here, and then Monty Osborne, who's the director of player personnel. And I think every team handles things differently and what the responsibilities are of that role. And a lot of times it probably hinges on what the GM in place does and how much authority or control he gives to people working underneath him. But the guys that are on tap for Titans have titles anywhere from Glenn Cook, assistant GM, vice president of personnel, to Ron Grant Carthon, director of player personnel, Ian Cunningham, assistant GM, Quentin Harris, vice president player personnel, Malik Boyd, senior director of pro scouting. I mean, they all got different titles. What they do, I think, depends largely, again, on where they are and who they're working for. But I think most of these guys have got experience that started with being a scout and then just kind of worked their way up in the organization and gotten more responsibility as they prove themselves.
Jim, we got 105 days until the first round of the NFL draft. They're trying to hire a brand new GM right now. Of course, the combine's coming up soon. Scouting has already started. How do you transition to a brand new administration while you're still in the middle of scouting? Because the guys who've been scouting have been scouting now for months. So do you come in and just say thanks but no thanks and let them roll, and they take their binders of information with them, or how does that go?
Well, I think it could depend on. I don't think one. I don't think you can just have a blanket trying to think of the best way to handle this. I don't think you can treat everyone the same when you come in as a new GM where, not everybody goes, not everybody stays. What usually happens in cases like this is what happened when John Robson came aboard is, like you said, Justin, I mean, these guys that have been here have been putting in the work throughout, since the time last year's draft ended. They've been scouting players throughout the fall and going to games, and, they're gearing up for, the Senior Bowl coming up later this month. So when the new GM is hired, he's not going to come in and just immediately clean house. I mean, you've got to trust the people that are in place, and then obviously you're going to have your own ideas. Some guys may not, some guys may not make it to the draft, but I would think the majority of them do. And then when the draft ends, this year's draft ends, that's when you start building your own staff and bring in guys that you have in mind. And then during the next couple of months after that GM is hired, maybe working alongside some of the people that are currently in place, they're impressed with them and they want to retain them and have them on their staff. So it's going to be it's not going to be the same for everybody. And I think the process will play out differently for a number of guys, and again, that's one of those deals depending on who the GM is, and may handle things differently. I think Mike Vrabel obviously worked with these scouts and worked with these people in personnel here. He'll clue the new GM in on who he likes and who might be a good fit to work with them, and then you'll just kind of build the staff moving forward.
On the way out, 3 years ago to the day, this happened to the Houston Texans. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about? 3 years ago to the day.
3 years ago to the day, this happened to the Houston Texans. What is this, January the 12th? Did Derrick Henry go over 2,000 in one of those, in a late season game? Maybe not. Season probably would have been over now.
It was the divisional round of the playoffs.
Is that when that's not when they blew the lead against Kansas.
It is. They were up 24-0 in Arrowhead and got smoked.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City ended the game on a 51-7 run.
I remember that well. And certainly, and then the Titans ended up going to Arrowhead the very next week.
Yep, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because I remember thinking, if that result stands, things are going to look different for the Titans.
Very.
It didn't, and so I think it's funny. It's not funny, but you think, as we sit here today on January the 12th, 2023, the toughest thing about, it's tough when you finish the year, with a 7-game losing streak and miss the playoffs, but you can't help. And this applies to the Titans teams from the 1999 to 2003 era that had a lot of opportunities to win Super Bowls. And that stretch, the team made it to 2 AFC Championship games and made it to a Super Bowl, but never did win one. And I think that the window, and you can argue whether that window is now closed or whether it's barely open or where things go from here. But I think back to that 2019 team and how close it was to going to the Super Bowl, and then I think about the last year's team and how they let a golden opportunity slip away as the number 1 seed and losing a game against the Bengals. I mean, those past years are what bothers you even more than this year that just finished, because those were teams that were capable of winning the Super Bowl, and it didn't happen, and it just makes the wait even more painful if you're a Titans fan.
No doubt about it. Jimmy, appreciate the visit. Have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, you guys have a good one. Appreciate it.
All right, Thanks, you can find his work at TennesseeTitans.com. He's Jim Wyatt. We'll come back. Phone calls. Phone lines are wide open the rest of the hour. 615-844-5600. That's 844-5600. More of the McFarland Show next.
Located at 5410 Murfreesboro Road in the heart of Laverne, City Slickers is one-stop shopping for all your liquor, beer, and wine needs and has been a multiple winner annually in the Best of Rutherford County voting for Best Liquor Store and Top Wine Shop. Featuring the lowest prices, the best customer service with unsurpassed knowledge, City Slickers offers the largest craft beer selection in Rutherford and southeastern Davidson counties and has beer on tap at its Growler filling station. City Slickers also sells mixers, sodas, snacks, tobacco products, and the Tennessee Lottery, and can place special orders and assist with all your events and even wedding planning. Make sure you follow City Slickers on all their social media or just give them a call at 615-280-7469. That's 615-280-7469. Located in the heart of Laverne, City Slickers.
Are you in trouble with the IRS? Detaxify is the trusted tax relief solution that has an A+ rating with the BBB, 5-star rating from Google, and specializes in the IRS Fresh Start program.
If you have years of unfiled back tax returns or owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, the government has the power to garnish your wages, freeze your bank account, and in some cases they can now revoke your passport. This is John Zandy, president of Detaxify. Detaxify specializes in the Fresh Start program where we help struggling taxpayers get out of collections or settle their tax debt. If you're being audited or dealing with threatening letters from the government, you may need professional tax relief representation. My team at Detaxify can stop the tax collectors and stop the threatening letters from the IRS or state. Call me now for a free consultation.
Call now, 800-601-7780. That's 800-601-7780. Detaxify offers a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. Call now, 800-601-7780. 800-601-7780.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Austin Hardy is your go-to agent in the Middle Tennessee community for the service you desire at the price you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Austin Hardy has you covered. Call 615-810-9999 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Five-state forecast.
Your exclusive National Sports Radio, WNSR Sky Scan forecast. Today is going to be mostly cloudy with showers and thunderstorms. High 66 early. Then temperatures will be falling into the mid-50s the rest of the day. Left of a shower this evening, cloudy overnight, low 34. Maybe flurries Friday. Utilizing the resources of the Weatherbug Network on National Sports Radio. I'm WNSR's meteorologist, Jim Rinaldi.
Sports Radio, WNSR.
Crazy, that was 3 years ago. Chiefs were down 24-0.
Man.
In the second round of the playoffs at home at Arrowhead, and they won 51-31.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. And
the Texans never recovered from that game.
The Chiefs got rolling, and then they just were unstoppable, which is what they pretty much were that whole season. Slow starts and then explosive bursts of points, 21, 28 points in, 6 minutes or something ridiculous. They would do it all the time. Really, really a juggernaut of an offensive team that year.
615-844-5600 is our phone number. Biggest decision, if you have to pick one, biggest decision the Titans have this offseason is what?
The quarterback.
That's the biggest decision
to
they
me,
have?
That's the biggest decision is what are you doing at quarterback?
Is it
because
quarterbacks?
No. Quarterback, singular. That's your starter, QB1, is, what are you doing there? Because what you do there determines everything else. What you do there determines how you build your offense. What you do there determines how long do you have to build your offense. What you do there determines, and a large part would have already been determined by your offensive coordinator in all parts about what kind of playing, what kind of identity are you going to have as a football team. That is all tied up in the quarterback. And I went on this rant earlier in the week, but I'm afraid a little bit that football is becoming less of a team game. Not to say it's not a team game, it most certainly is. But there's so much emphasis on the quarterback that the other parts, and Bill King, who was with us yesterday, spoke about it. You can find a 5'11", 200-pound running back anywhere. But a quarterback is the guy who's special. So the biggest thing they got to figure out is who's going to be their QB1. Who's going to be starter when they run out the tunnel in September. I mean, to me, that's kind of it. So
okay, I'll buy that. That's a huge decision, right?
Yeah,
huge decision. What they're going to do as starting quarterback. So I've been reading a lot of articles here in the last 24, 48 hours, and if you believe what's being put out there, it sounds like the time to strike, if you're going to strike for Aaron Rodgers, is this offseason.
Okay.
That is the best time for him to get out from underneath his contract in Green Bay. In fact, I've seen a lot of national people that I follow, people that I've done weeklies with, people that I think have really good info and good opinions say this is the time also where Aaron Rodgers needs to get out. He needs, if he was ever going to get out of Green Bay, this is it. Because I guess in next offseason, it virtually becomes impossible. If you, again, read the language, the contract. And I've seen a lot of people. In fact, I saw Chris Johnson.
Okay.
CJ2K.
That's right.
Put out a picture of Aaron Rodgers in a Titans uniform.
Not surprising.
Do you think that is something the new GM should at least explore?
Should you explore a guy who, threw for 3,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 12 picks? Yeah, you should explore him. You should explore getting him in the building, yes. Is that the way you really want to go because of how much he is going to cost and what you would need to do with the other starting quarterback that you have in order to get him out of here and get Aaron Rodgers in here? No, I don't think it's going to make a lot of financial sense. I don't think the Titans are going to quit Ryan Tannehill and go to another veteran that's going to cost an exorbitant amount of money. Because how much money here are you going to put into a quarterback? You're going to put potentially $18 million of dead money into a quarterback that isn't here, and then pump another, I don't know, $15 to $20 million into the brand new veteran quarterback.
Well, you're going to pump more than that if you're getting a real one.
Okay, well, if you're getting Aaron Rodgers, then yeah, I mean, you're going to pump way more than that. So I don't think they're just going to be in the cap position to get Aaron Rodgers and still have enough to go get him people to compete with. Because if you signed Aaron Rodgers, so now he's throwing to Nick Westbrook-Akina and, Traylon Burks, is that what we're doing now? I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I'm just asking that because of what you've been saying all week, and that's fine if you want to change the way you go about your business, but the only way to change is to get a real higher elite quarterback, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way you can
try to go find him,
which means you have to, unless you draft him, which I don't know how you could expect that to be next season, right? I mean, I don't.
Well, you're not going to give him pick 11, not in this draft.
Right. It doesn't seem that way. So you're going to have to go pay. You're going to have to go pony up.
Or trade way up and mortgage your future in order to get one of the big guys.
Or that.
If you really, really think one of these guys is going to be the guy and you're really sold on that, then you mortgage your future and you go get him. If you want to do that, or you restructure, or you just bite the bullet. If there's another guy out there, listen, if you think Aaron Rodgers is your guy, then you cut Ryan Tannehill and you throw it, you go all in and just say, we don't care about the dead money. We're going to cut corners at other spots, no matter where it is. We're going to load up on offense. We're going to trim defense down to the bare bones. We're going to have Jeffrey Simmons and Kevin Byard, and they're going to play a two-man defense the whole year, just them. The other 9 guys, we're not even putting them on the feet. Don't even worry about it. Roger McCreary, take the year off. Go to Cabo, my friend. We'll see you in 2024 because we don't have the money to pay you this year because we're going all offense.
Well, he's on the rookie deal, so you can pay him.
That's true. You can pay Roger McCreary.
Keep the cheap guys.
But, the rest of them, you tell them, listen, go ahead and stay home because we're going all in on offense, and then you go get whoever you need to get. But it's all in how you think about it. In my opinion, we're in a situation now with the football team where the offense is the thing because offense is the thing in the game, in the game we call football. This is what happens now. So if you don't have an offense, you're not invited to the party. And that's what's happened.
Step away for the final time. Come back, wrap up the first hour next. Are you looking for a trusted partner who knows AT&T business inside and out? ABS Communications is an organization built on the premise that telecom solutions and working with companies like AT&T can often be complicated, and the customer needs someone to help them navigate through these complexities. They make complex simple. Whether it's helping maintain, manage, or secure your business, ABS Communications is here to help all your business telecom and mobility needs. Their business was built with the goal of simplifying the process of connectivity for the customer and establishing a long-term relationship of trust through transparency and accountability. ABS Communications is a top 5 AT&T authorized agent with over 200 years of AT&T technical experience. You can call Mark and the gang at 615-349-8588, or you can visit their website at abscomm.net. And remember, mention the McFarland Show to ABS, and you could get up to $250 in a Visa gift card for new ABS business customers.
Are you tired of your current vehicle? Maybe looking for a new or pre-owned vehicle? Hey guys, it's Zach. Hayes Nissan of Rivergate is the best choice for your vehicle needs. Located at 1550 Gallatin Pike North in Madison, Hayes Nissan of Rivergate has been serving the Middle Tennessee community for over 3 decades. That gives you confidence that Hayes Nissan of Rivergate can find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and your budget. Their friendly and knowledgeable staff will make sure you are taken care of. I should know because I've seen it firsthand. Every vehicle I've purchased has been from Hayes Nissan of Rivergate, and I love the entire process. Now, I don't want you to forget about their award-winning parts and service department. It has everything you need to get you back on the road. Go visit them on the web at nissanofrivergate.com. They're open there 24/7, 365 days a year. Or give them a call at 615-865-7220. Again, that number is 615-865-7220. That's Hayes Nissan of Rivergate, where your dollar always goes farther.
Hey Nashville, Ray here from Run With It. Let me tell you about our sponsor, Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House. And with 4 locations in Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Spring Hill, and East Nashville, they're your home for the best gourmet pizza and craft beers in Music City. Join me on Monday nights at the East Nashville location for poker night. And if you think you know everything, try Wednesday night trivia at both locations. Gourmet pizzas, craft beers, online at boombozz.com. Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House.
It's a Bill King Show.
In Little League football, they play it off. You can't do it in college football, Bill. You got to come up with a bunch of computers and some BCS cockamamie scheme. My answer was yes. It's unique. Absolutely love it. I go into my garage every day and make sure there are no dust particles on those BCS computers. I do that.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
We'll switch gears, begin the second hour of the program. We'll talk to Alex Jordy, talk a little bit about the Preds and their successes and, unfortunately, the failure last night to get a point
Couldn't
in
get it
Toronto
done.
against
Could not get it done.
the Leafs. But tonight they're in Montreal. They're taking on the Canadiens.
Very quickly, I wanted to mention to you, congratulations to your friends in Memphis who were able to check out John Morant posterizing a guy last night, and in addition to scoring 38 points and a big win for the Grizzlies.
They made the Grizzlies Instagram last night. No kidding.
Wow, I didn't know that part.
Yep.
That is awesome.
Yep.
That is awesome. So they've been playing that John Morant dunk on heavy rotation. I see
him with the sign.
Oh wow. That's cool.
That's mom on the right, dad on the left.
That is really cool. They've had that John Morant dunk in heavy rotation on ESPN and all the sports channels, and I thought about you when I saw it. I was like, wow, they got a thrill last night being able to watch that.
I checked it out. I was flipping back when the Preds intermissions. I was watching the Grizzlies game. They were every time I thought they were in control, San Antonio would keep coming back. They would not go away.
Yeah.
Which, when he told me they were going to the Spurs game, I was like, I don't even know if I know anybody on the Spurs anymore.
I don't either.
It's not the same Spurs.
No, Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker are not out there anymore.
No guy by the name of Robinson. No guy by the name of Duncan.
Bruce Bowen is not there. It's not the same guys.
No, Robert Horry does not play for them.
No, he's not there anymore either.
So, but yeah, he poured in 38. He missed the last 3 games. But yeah, they got to see Ja.
That is so cool.
And they wanted his pink shoes, and I sent him the article I saw this morning. It was on Sporting News. He gave it to an 11-year-old girl. He's an 11-year-old boy, but he gave it to an 11-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And the story behind it, who was there with her dad, apparently, and I have to read it a little bit more. I don't know the fine details. I guess she was there Monday night. She got a game ball, an autograph ball.
I've heard about this.
And somebody took it.
Yeah.
Somebody took it. Yeah. Who
That's
took
true.
a ball from an 11-year-old girl? What?
Yeah. That
so
happened. Yeah.
obviously it made its way around.
It did.
It got back to Ja.
Yeah.
He took the jersey off his back, signed it, took the shoes off his feet, signed both shoes, and gave them to her.
Yeah.
After the game.
Yeah.
Pretty cool moment.
Very cool.
We'll come back. Hour number 2 of the McFarland Show. That's next.
On air and online, Sports Radio WNSR, Brentwood, Nashville.
ABC News, I'm Rena Roy. After the discovery of classified documents at an office used by President Biden and at his Delaware home, Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed Special Counsel Robert Hur to lead a probe.
This appointment underscores for the public the department's commitment to both independence and accountability in particularly sensitive matters, and to making decisions indisputably guided only by the facts and the law.
ABC's Pierre Thomas has more.
The bottom line is the documents were out of place for nearly 6 years. And the Justice Department now is tasked with finding out why were they out of place, who was responsible for putting them there, and what were the circumstances.
The Justice Department is also overseeing the obstruction of justice probe into former President Trump after he defied a subpoena to return hundreds of classified documents retrieved at his Mar-a-Lago estate. On Wall Street, stocks are in positive territory in late-day trading, the Dow up over 200 points. This is ABC News.
God, I'm so stressed. It's a brand new year and our business is busier than ever.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs
and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sports book right now. New customers, no sweat, first bet up to $1,000 free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Sign up with the promo code GregP. FanDuel has all the kind of ways you want to play, from the money line to point spreads, to player props, to same-game parlays, live betting, updated odds, in-game, on and on and on. And it's all the sports, right? It's all the sports and all that on that app. It's safe, secure, super easy to use. Sign up today, promo code GregP for that no sweat first bet. Promo code GregP.
That's promo code GregP.
Indeed. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Now you got to be 21 and older, present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable. Free bets expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Listen, you can't handle the truth. It's about to go off. Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare studios.
Just a bit outside.
Now back to the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call now at 615-844-5600.
Oh, righty there.
Now the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Second hour McFarland Show. Darren and Justin here with you. Live Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. It's gray and rainy outside. It's snowing in Montreal, where the Predators are.
Well, it's January, so makes
January
sense.
in Canada.
Yeah, makes sense.
So typically it snows a lot.
It's the kind of thing they do up there.
Let's bring in Alex Doherty, covers the Preds for A to Z Sports. Alex, what's going on?
Not much. How are y'all doing?
We're doing fine. I mean, it's not raining in the studio, so it's cool. I mean,
it's fine out here.
Whatever's doing outside, that's on them. It's fine in here. It wasn't fine the way last night ended. It's just a game where, look, when you're at the midway point of your season, I know ultimately you're trying to get wins, but best case, I mean, to me, the worst case scenario for last night was to come away with a point, and unfortunately, with that double minor penalty late in the game, little blood on the high stick, the power play goal by Toronto, Preds came away with no points.
Yeah, you feel pretty bad for the effort, I guess, because I mean, if you look at the numbers here, I mean, this was a pretty, after the first period especially, it was a pretty even game, at least in terms of even strength play. So, I mean, expected goals, all the underlying metrics and everything, it was a very evenly played game. In fact, the Predators really should have done better. I mean, really were the better team for most of the third period, up until Mark Jankowski gets his stick up too high, bloodies the nose, and they got to kill that 4-minute penalty. And that's just it's just really unfortunate. I mean, it's the oldest rule in the book. You cannot hit people with the stick, and he broke that rule, and the Predators paid for it. And UC Saros, this incredible stretch that he's been on, he still had a really good night and 33 saves. I mean, the guy has been just unreal for the Predators over the last several weeks, and that continued last night. And if anyone deserved a point last night, it was him.
Yeah, and Toronto didn't have their best player in the lineup either. That's another reason to me you got to come away with the point, at least a point. I mean, they don't have their best player in Austin Matthews, and you played well enough to at least push it to overtime and take your chances in overtime and possibly a shootout, right? But unfortunately, it didn't happen. The penalty kill has also been good here of late, but unfortunately, weren't able to do it for 4 minutes last night.
Yeah, the penalty kill has been pretty steady all year, but I went and just pulled some numbers here. I mean, this team, if you just look at the numbers of this team, just where they rank in terms of the rest of the league, if you look at it from the very beginning of the year, the Preds are still pretty low. I mean, like they're among the worst teams in offense and defense and power play, and penalty kills kind of middle of the pack. But if you look at it over the last 10, 11 games, 11 games for the Predators since December 19th, Predators are a top 10 team in almost every category: offense, defense, power play, and penalty kill. Some of that is luck. I mean, they're getting a little bit better shooting percentage, but there's no doubt that the team has been playing better and getting better results over the last 10 games. But again, I mean, it's an 82-game season. I mean, you're going to have some stretches like that. You got to sustain it for longer than 10, 11 games. I mean, they've got to play like this for 20, 30 games before anyone talks about, oh, this team is really a playoff team. It's not there yet, but they have been better.
Eeli Tolvanen has been in the lineup here of late for the Kraken to kind of kick off the new year. He played 13 games in Nashville with the Preds, had 2 goals, 2 assists in 13 games. He's played 6 games, I believe, with the Kraken, and he has 3 goals and 2 assists. What do you make? How do you think ultimately this is going to play out? I mean, look, I don't want to sit here and go, oh my gosh, 6 games, he's already got more goals than he did in 13 games with the Preds this season. Oh my gosh, this is a disaster. But I am asking you, how do you think this is going to play out? And, do you think there is a chance that this comes back to bite him?
Well, it's interesting because Tolvanen is playing in almost the exact role that he was for the Predators. He's playing a middle six, almost a bottom six kind of role, getting about 12 minutes a night, playing on the power play. That's exactly what his role was in Nashville. But he's all of a sudden, playing much better, or at least in the first 6 games for Seattle. But remember, they healthy scratched him to begin with, so they must have noticed as well that he needed a little bit more, time to work into the system. I still think that he's kind of a one-trick pony in terms of his skill. I mean, I just don't see his overall skill turning into, a perennial all-star or anything. He probably could get to the 20-goal threshold on a yearly basis for most of his career, but especially if he just spends most of his time on the power play. But a lot of teams can't afford they can't afford to just keep a guy around because he has a good shot and that's it. I mean, the Predators especially, they need guys that can play in all situations, that can do a lot of different things, that can play on the center position, play at the wing. And so it just was a number thing. I do think it's interesting that David Poile kind of admitted the mistake. I would like to think that if the team wasn't doing so well right now, the Predators, that is, that he would still think that. But I think they're probably just like, we're just going to ignore any results coming out of the Seattle Kraken. Just don't even look at the box score. Just ignore what's happening with them for now. We can pretend that it never happened.
Tonight they'll be honoring PK Subban. Ironically, they're playing the Preds, which, that was not by coincidence. So it'll be a big night for PK. Montreal is not playing great. Preds just beat them here recently. They need to beat them again tonight. But it'll be quite the atmosphere in Montreal. Let me just ask this. Do you think PK Subban will get into the Hall of Fame one day?
Oh, I would think not. I mean, if you just have one Norris and don't have the counting stats to go with it, I would think not, unless it's some sort of, I don't know the ins and outs of the Hockey Hall of Fame, but unless it's some sort of off-ice contributions because he's been such a huge impact in the league. I mean, I could see that happening maybe like on down the road if there's some sort of route in where it's about his incredible contributions off the ice. But on ice, I don't think so. I mean, he burned too hot for too short a time, and it's just injuries unfortunately piled up. I think that's a pretty cool thing that they're doing tonight. I think it's great that they are honoring PK Subban in front of the Predators too. If you remember, I'm sure you remember the return of PK Subban when the Predators went there in Montreal back in 2016-17 or whatever that was incredible. That was must-watch television. PK Subban, tears on the ice. I think the Canadians won on like a last-minute goal. That was incredible. So maybe some more theatrics like that tonight as well.
I asked that because I don't know whether he is or not. I think he's going to be on the doorstep. I don't know if he'll get in Toronto or not. I've been to the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's a cool place. You would never know it was the Hockey Hall of Fame. You could just drive right by it and never know. But it's going to go down as one of the biggest one-for-one trades in the history of the sport, right? I mean, because I think Shea Weber is going to be a Hall of Famer. I do. Now, maybe I'm extremely biased, which, if you accuse me of that, I would say guilty as charged. I do think he's going to get in. I really do. And so this could be two Hall of Famers traded for each other, right? You don't see that much in sports. Typically you add a bunch of draft picks or compensation or there's other, minor league players involved in there. But this could be truly a Hall of Fame player swapped for a Hall of Fame player. And, oh, by the way, Shea Weber was the captain here when that happened.
Yeah, that was still an astonishing moment in the franchise. I mean, honestly, of all the huge moments in franchise history, that still ranks as top 3 moment of just wow moments. Going to the Stanley Cup final, and then probably that PK for Shea Weber trade is still in there. It's just a mind blowing, put them on the map kind of move. And by the way, I think in a lot of ways, David Poile is still kind of chasing that high, right? I mean, I still think he's in his mind. I believe he still kind of thinks he's in that role of setting the trends in the NHL rather than chasing them now. That was how many other teams did things like that. No one did anything like that when he did that 6 years ago. And then all of a sudden now you got big trades and you got GMs making big splashy moves. I think Poile kind of still thinks he's in that realm, and I don't know that that's really what he's capable of now. But the stars just aligned for that. I mean, it was a contract situation on both sides, possibly injury situation as well, and then just 1-for-1. Yeah, an amazing 1-for-1 trade, the likes of which I don't know if we'll ever see again.
And both players took their team to the Stanley Cup final.
Yep,
Unfortunately, neither one could
did.
win it, but both took their team to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, and then drastically fell off in terms of production because of injury, and then now are basically no longer playing. So.
Yep.
Wanted to ask about where the Predators are here at this point of the season. As I look at the standings here, I see they're just 3 points out of the wild card spot here in the NHL. And for so long at the beginning of this year, because of the way they started off, it seems like they will be much further behind than where they are. But when you look at it, it just doesn't seem as bad as it may feel. Do you kind of sense that as well?
Definitely, yeah. If you look at a lot of the, their overall win-loss record, their points percentage, how many points are they getting per game? That's a big thing in hockey because of the way the standings work. Their goal differential, all that stuff doesn't look very good. And then you look, and exactly like you said. I mean, they are 1 point behind the St. Louis Blues, who are also not very good, and they're only 4 points behind the Minnesota Wild for third in the in the Central Division. And yeah, like you said, 3 points out of the wild card. They could. I mean, you win tonight, and then you win Saturday at home, and Minnesota loses one. All of a sudden, you're in third place in the Central. That's pretty astonishing for this team to be in that situation. But again, that would only get you to game 42, so just over the halfway mark. There's so much more to go, and they have yet to really figure out how are they going to generate offense consistently. That's the biggest issue. I think they've figured out some things defensively. Defensively, they're getting there, and part of it is because of UC Saros. But can they get someone other than Philip Forsberg to be a go-to goal-scoring threat? I mean, Matt Duchene, Ryan, it's the same names, right? Matt Duchene, Ryan Johansson, Mikhail Granlund, and then you've got the Tanner Jeannots and all these people. I mean, are these guys going to be consistent goal scorers? Right now it's Forsberg and Yossi and then, maybe one other guy. But there's a lot of names out there that are not contributing offensively the way they need to.
Forsberg's been very hot and productive here the last few games for the Predators. Is this something that he does typically? Does he get hot in bunches like this where he'll go off, in a big way?
Yeah, I think the common thought is that he's a little streaky. I kind of shy away from that only because I think to be really streaky, you have to see huge stretches where you don't have production. I think he pretty consistently has production, but when he gets on a goal-scoring streak like this, it's just, and when he can get into a place where he's using physically, the difference between Forsberg and pretty much any other player on the team is his ability to translate the physical game and the offensive end into goals is unequal to anyone. I mean, Ryan Johansson does it occasionally, but no one else can body up an opposing defenseman, win the puck, get the puck out of the corner into a danger area, and then score. And he has the skill. You saw last night against Toronto. Mm-hmm. He has the skill in front of the net to be able to catch a pass from Juuso Parssinen at full speed, deke around the goalie, and pocket it home. I mean, he has the skills to be able to do that. But, yeah, he can be streaky at times. I mean, Phil Buary is the common thing online. That
he loves it. He loves that, yeah.
Yeah, February, right. February is February. But, I mean, I think overall he's just a guy that you can count on him for consistent production. But when he's got the goal scoring going too, that's when you really need him.
The Preds do have in the entire NHL has the All-Star game coming up here in just a few weeks, early February. Typically, sometimes in baseball, this happens in basketball as well. When teams get hot, they go into the All-Star break. It's almost like the All-Star break comes at a bad time because they don't want to stop playing hockey. They don't want everybody to get distracted. They want to try to keep everything going in a positive direction here. And I know we're still a couple weeks out from where we are with that, but I imagine that's got to be on people's minds here a little bit is when you hit that midway part of the season, you get that break, that you got to come back and kind of redefine who you are.
Yeah, I think they're going to. That's probably going to hurt them, to be honest. I mean, they are a team that cannot afford any amount of time away from getting chemistry, right? I mean, they've been working on it all season. They've had 40 games to get it, and they've got a little bit of it right now. They cannot afford it. Teams like Dallas or, obviously Colorado and Boston, who's just crazy good. These are incredibly talented teams that have been they've been playing together forever, and they can take a few days off and then come back and really not miss a beat. But Nashville can't, and so they've got to find a way to win as many games before the break and then try to get it back as quickly as they can after the break. Because you're right, they will lose a little bit. There's no way they won't.
Alex, the last thing for me here for this is the schedule for this team. This is the second, the end of a second very long string of road trips. Let me rephrase, Alex. This is the second really long road trip of the first half that they have had. I'm not sure if there's a road trip like this coming up the rest of the season where they leave like this. What does this do to them as a team? Does it bring them closer together? Do they find it? Because I think they found a little bit of a groove the last time they went out there. Now they had one disastrous trip, but what do you think about this team on the road here?
Yeah, they have done that before. There was a road trip last year. I can't remember when it was that really kind of brought them together, I guess you could say. Honestly, to me, I think it's less about the camaraderie. I mean, maybe there's some of that and getting together with the guys on the road or whatever. But I think sometimes it's about the matchups. To be honest, I mean they've been fortunate in this one to win a couple games they shouldn't have, but they've also really played some not great teams. I mean, Ottawa's not very good. They're playing Montreal tonight. They're not very good. They played Anaheim a few weeks ago. They're not very good. The biggest road trip. There's a road trip coming up, or not a road trip, but a section of the schedule coming up late in the season that is just absolutely brutal. Where they play Toronto and Boston and Pittsburgh and Dallas and Vegas. That's going to be when you see what's going to happen. I mean, these road trips, it's about obviously geographics. I mean, where are you at in the country, in the league, but I think it's really more about the matchups. And last time was a tough matchup. They almost got the win. Tonight's an easier matchup. You really feel like they need to win tonight in order to get back on track. So I think it's less about the trip itself and just about who they're playing.
Last thing real quick, Alex. I know that, look, we'll talk about this more with you as we get a little bit closer, but the trading deadline and, how they're going to handle that. What did you make? I know Dante Fabro was back in the lineup last night, but he's been a healthy scratch. It's not the first time he's been a healthy scratch before. Ultimately, how do you think this is going to play out with Dante Fabro?
Yeah, I think they have to make a choice. They have to choose between Dante Fabro and Alex Carrier, and it seems to me that they've already made that choice.
I was going to say, haven't they made it? Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting more minutes. They haven't scratched him. He's going to be cheaper. Dante Fabro is going to be at least $2.5 million to pay. I think he's probably going to get traded. If not this, at the trade deadline, at some point before they would have to send him a contract.
What do you think they could get at the deadline for him?
I think they could get
first round pick, young still, has already logged 200-plus games in the league. I mean, they could probably get a decent haul, couldn't they?
I don't think. I think something like a third-round pick. I think that's
really?
where he's at right now.
Huh.
Yeah. Because of the price, he's an RFA, but whoever gets him is going to have to pay him $2.5 million. I mean, they have to give him a qualifying offer. So I think it's the price, and I think a lot of people don't see him as much more than a depth guy. I think he wouldn't step into the top 4 role wherever he's going. If he goes to a contender, if he goes to Toronto, he's going to play on the bottom pair, and they don't want to pay $2.5 million and a second or first round pick to get a $2.5 million, bottom pair guy. So
I think you can get a little bit more. That's just my opinion. Because remember, you only need one desperate team, one team that thinks they need to shore up something to make their run, and usually defense is, one that they'll probably want to improve. Right? There'll be a good team that can score, that could like to maybe get a little bit better blue liner and maybe overpay. I mean, somebody always overpays, so I don't know. Just a thought.
Someone could overpay. Maybe a second round. I think second round. My ceiling.
Yeah,
my ceiling for that.
Yeah, I kind of think maybe second round. All right, good stuff as always. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. All right, see you guys.
Alex Doherty covers the Preds for A to Z Sports. We'll come back. We're wide open the rest of the hour. 615-844-5600. is how you can get in touch with us. More of the McFarland Show next.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel is all conversation-based, so it gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
You'll really see a difference in how you can speak and how conversational you can be in just a few weeks.
Babbel isn't just lessons. You can listen to podcasts, play games, watch videos. You can even take live online classes with a language teacher. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel.
The lessons online and in the app make it easy to learn from pretty much anywhere.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY. WNSR Nashville Sports Radio would like to take this time to say congratulations to Greg Poe. Greg is a member of the 2023 class of the Tennessee Sports Writers Association Hall of Fame. Greg Poe has been a standard and staple of Nashville sports media. Congratulations to Greg Poe and the rest of the 2023 class of the Tennessee Sports Writers Association Hall of Fame. From your friends and family at WNSR Nashville Sports Radio.
$844-5600 is how you can get in touch with us. The league did announce if indeed the Bills and the Chiefs get to the AFC Championship game, that game will be played in Atlanta. Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah. Enclosed stadium, obviously, down there. They can't open up a roof to let a breeze in, but I don't think they really do that.
I was going to say, do they even do that?
I don't even know if the thing actually – I mean, I know it does move. I don't know
maybe
when the last time they've let the thing open for any reason.
Maybe for the soccer team, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. But, you know, they're going to play it down there, and obviously it's a place with a major airport, so it's easier for fans to get in and out of there if they want to do that. And, you know, it's a strange situation. Somebody will look back on this 24, 25 years from now and try to figure out, why was that game in Atlanta? And then have to put together, and they'll do a whole video or whatever they do at the time on how the AFC Championship game ended up at a neutral site. It'll be one of those did you know type of situations.
And indoors.
Yes.
Which I think is interesting. Kansas City in late January, not fun.
No.
Buffalo in late January, not fun. And you know what? They're getting basically a Super Bowl matchup in a conference championship game.
Yes.
In other words, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Well, Super Bowls aren't played outdoors typically, or at least outdoors in bad weather. They almost did it in New York. They escaped. I was up there covering that Super Bowl.
Okay.
When I say they escaped, I left early, but I think it was on Monday. Monday is when they got, think about how lucky they were. Monday after the Super Bowl in New York. Well, I guess technically New Jersey. East
just
Rutherford.
across.
They got a blizzard. They got popped with snow, but it wasn't during the Super Bowl.
No, which is why they're not on the schedule ever again. They owed him one.
Right.
They did it,
Yep.
and they're done.
They're done.
They're done.
Not going back.
We promised you guys we would do this. If you guys did the thing, you did the thing, you built the thing.
Yep.
We're here, and now we're not coming back.
Never coming back.
And we brought all kinds of people. Look, we brought teams, and we did the whole thing. We brought Beyonce and Bruno Mars,
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
We came, we did the thing, and now it's over.
Let me just tell you, I was there when Beyonce came walking through, and man, it was a sight to see. And her entourage.
The entourage.
Okay, and when she's going through, you can just see it's like a 5-year-old soccer game. Like you just wherever the ball is, everybody
moves that direction. Yeah.
Every kid goes toward the ball. Like there's no positions, there's no strategy. You couldn't see her
because of all the people.
But the people, but it stopped, and I was like, "What's going on?" And I make my way up there. Do you know why she stopped? And this is still to this day cracks me up. I would love to get him on the show just to ask him, what did you say to her? What did you say? Joe Theismann stopped her. And I laughed because when it was over, Justin, I'm just telling you right now.
Joe Theismann.
I would have bet money if I could bet money. In fact, that was up there, so I could have gone to Jersey. I could have gone
to Atlantic City over there.
Could have gone to Atlantic City and bet.
Yeah.
I would have bet everything. She didn't have a clue who she was talking to. When she got out of there, she probably asked her people, who was that guy?
Are you positive Joe knew who he was talking to?
Oh, Joe knew who he was talking about. Joe knew who he was talking to. He was on a mission.
Okay, all right.
He stopped Beyonce and her entourage.
And the entourage.
In their tracks. I was like, why is it stopping? What happened? It was Joe Theismann.
Yeah.
And I laughed because I'm like, she has no clue who she's talking to. No clue.
No, she probably not.
Which is hilarious. So good for him. He got to talk to Beyonce for about 30 seconds.
30 seconds, but it's a story.
It was a story, and I witnessed it. Let's go down to Columbia. Nate, you're up next. Welcome in.
What's up, fellas? Nice, cloudy, somewhat rainy day here.
Yeah. Kind of a.
I don't think we've gotten as bad as Nashville has because we haven't gotten any hail down here.
No. You guys down in Murray County did not get it bad this time.
But
like
man,
the rest of us have.
I saw some of the size of the hail on Twitter. Whew, That's some thick stuff.
He got real.
Hey, Darren, did you see what I tweeted you not too long ago? Maybe about 15 minutes ago?
About the third jersey?
Yeah.
The Navy third jersey?
My wife sent me a text of an email where the Preds are wanting to checker Bridgestone.
On Saturday?
Yeah. And, I mean, here's my, I guess, quarterly gripe of the Preds. Why don't we have the Navy third jersey?
To go along with the Navy theme in the seats, in the sections?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, you're not going to get any resistance out of me. I loved that jersey. I did.
I think it's been the best, I think. Other than, if you love the old school, that's cool. But I love the Navy more than the old school.
I loved it, too. I loved it. But, again, it depends on who you ask, right? Because you know how that works. You start talking jerseys and uniforms with people like they're passionate, and half the group loves it and half the group hates it.
Yep. Do y'all think Askarov could play tonight?
I doubt it. He played last night.
I mean, Lincoln has been dealing with an illness, and I think wasn't Askarov the backup last night?
Yeah. Oh, Askarov. You said Askarov. You said okay. I thought you said Saros.
No.
Yeah, Askarov. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? I want to see him.
It would, but would Hines play him because he's from the AHL?
Look, if you're going to do it, Montreal's not a bad team to do it against.
I mean, he's got to play at some point, right? I mean, from the AHL, he's got to do it at some point, right?
I don't know what Vegas knows, but I looked this morning to see what the odds were.
Yep.
And the Preds were favored by like 140, I think, and the Habs were plus 120. and it jumped up to like +146 for the Habs and like -176 for the Preds. So I don't know if they think Lincoln's going to be playing, or there's no way Saros could play tonight, right?
Right now the current odds I'm looking at, the Preds are a it just refreshed on me. You jerk. Phone? What is your problem? I didn't refresh you.
By the way, Nate, you're not the only person who doesn't know what Vegas knows.
Minus, how about this? It literally just refreshed. Wow. Okay, so wow, this is interesting. So let's talk through this on air.
All right.
So when it refreshed, I was getting ready to tell you that the Predators were a -178, and then it refreshed to -192 Preds. So they became a heavier favorite. That to me sounds like it's Saros, doesn't it?
Well, it could be somebody's out for Montreal. Couldn't that also be the case?
No, I think it's more about the Preds.
Okay.
Yeah.
It feels like it's they're going to go back to back. I don't know.
I mean, Montreal is a backup goaltender too.
Look, I'm just thinking about it out loud. Why would you have? Why would the odds go up in favor for a team on the road, and they're going to put in the rookie goalie?
And that's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Why would the odds go up if Askarov was going to be playing his first ever NHL game?
Yeah, I don't believe they would. I mean, I know he's their number one prospect, but I don't believe they would.
Probably not going to happen tonight.
Yeah, I don't. I guess now that we're talking through it, it kind of feels like I guess they're just going to roll with Saros again. Would be my guess.
That just doesn't make sense to me. Because usually don't you ride your starter at the end of the season and try to give him a little rest at least during the middle during all these back-to-backs? I counted it up. It's like 13 back-to-backs this year.
Well, we know if we've learned this from John Hines, he's not afraid to go back to Saros in back-to-backs. We have learned that. We've seen it, right? We got conditioned to think, back-to-backs. Starter one game, the backup the other.
Yeah.
Then John Hines started just playing the hot goalie, which at the time was Saros.
Which has been Saros, yes.
Right. So I guess he is in that hot mode. So I guess they're going back to him.
Get while the getting's good.
And the Habs aren't great, but I mean, it's not like they're not going to be playing. So it's not like Saros basically gets the night off by playing.
I just can't imagine. Look, I'm just talking out loud. You've brought it to our attention. I can't imagine that the odds makers are making the Predators a heavier favorite on the road if they're sticking in a rookie goalie.
Or even linking it, for that matter, because he hasn't been 100% with this illness.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. You know what? We can talk about it tomorrow.
We'll know by then.
Well, I was going to say, let's see how it plays out tonight. We can talk about it tomorrow. Good idea, bad idea, right?
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah. Y'all have a great day, guys.
All right, you too.
Thank you, Nate.
Let's go to Nolensville. Tony, you're up next.
Tony.
What's up?
Good afternoon, guys. And Tony in Nolensville is actually just north of Cincinnati currently.
Oh wow. All right.
What's going on? You getting a little skyline chili?
Well, we have a family funeral we've got to attend to this weekend.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
And we left, and thank you. We left and came up early this morning. And hearing y'all talk, so it sounds like the weather back in Nashville and all was pretty hectic, pretty severe.
Got a little rough.
It was,
we had a little hail, Tony.
Okay, yeah. I
mean, some lightning.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I thought it was going to be worse. So I guess if you're saying it's kind of passed through, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was kind of bracing for worse.
We've seen the worst of it at this point here. So, and it wasn't as bad for us, Tony, as it was for other parts of the South.
I've heard about down in Alabama.
Alabama got hit hard again.
My daughter lives down beyond Birmingham, and Clanton, and they've told me what's all happened down there.
Yes, sir.
But we encountered quite a bit of some bad weather and storms, but nothing of the hail nature and all. So, but what I wanted to tell you guys about as we come through, and on our way up through Cincinnati, and I've done talked to Devlin about this. This town up here seemed to be ready There is some storefronts already painted up with the Bengals stuff. People already have. I saw a lot of the flags flying. It is. They're ready for their playoff game up here Sunday night.
Yeah, they've already cut the Super Bowl Shuffle video. It's out.
Is that right?
I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah. I have not seen that. That's news to me. I'll be looking for that.
I'm sorry. That was a Chicago Bears joke from the 80s. Justin, that was for you, man. That was.
Listen, I was like, listen, in this day and age of TikTok, are you kidding me? Is it impossible that the Bengals cut a Super Bowl Shuffle? No, it's not impossible. The Bengals are doing a Super Bowl two-step or whatever it is.
The Icky Shuffle's the thing.
Yeah. They did a song last year.
That's what they be doing.
They did a song last year with Bootsy Collins. So, it's possible. Fear the Tiger or whatever it is, yeah.
Guys, while we were riding, I got to think. I want to ask y'all this question.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think makes a better head coach on the collegiate level and then on the professional level? The offensive coordinators or the defensive coordinators?
Ooh, well, let's see. Let's kind of go through. So Nick prefers what side of the ball? Little Nicky.
Defense.
Okay, so there's a point for defense. Dabo Sweeney prefers which side of the ball?
He was the offensive.
Defense.
Well, defense, yeah. But he played wide receiver in college, though, so that's why my mind. But you're right, he's defensive.
He started off on the defensive side of the ball, right?
As a D-back, right.
Okay, so there's another
Kirby's
check
defense.
Who? Kirby is defense. Sure.
Kirby plays defense.
Of course. Well, he'd play coach. He was coordinator. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So are we answering it?
I mean,
Ryan Day was offense.
Josh
Heupel was offense.
Yeah.
So,
but Josh Heupel hadn't got the national championship
he's
rings
not
yet.
in the ilk of those guys right now. So
not yet.
So right now, just that little experiment on the air, I would say, defense.
Defense seems to win the day right now. But really in college, it's more of a recruiting game than a on the field trying to outduel someone type of game, unlike in the NFL, where it's a little bit different up there, where you have a little bit more of an equal playing field as far as talent is concerned, and then out scheming the other guy becomes a bigger part of what's going on. And a lot of the guys who've won Super Bowls as of late, Sean McVay and even the guy down in Jacksonville right now, Doug Peterson, these are offensive guys, and they've won Super Bowls here previously. Kyle Shanahan, who has not won a Super Bowl yet, but he's an offensive guy, correct? So offensive coordinator type.
Right.
So
I thought it was a pretty good question. It was just, I had some good thoughts on it, and I said, well, I was going to ask two of the smartest people that are way smarter than me on this. So,
well, let's rifle through real quick. So you had Sam Pittman in Arkansas. He was offense. Clark Lee here was defense.
Defense, yeah.
Mark Stoops at Kentucky was defense, correct? Wasn't he the defensive coordinator? Right.
Yes. He
was the DC.
Sorry, yes.
Okay.
Well, Sean Beamer, wasn't he offense?
Sean was
Shane
Beamer.
Shane Beamer. I'm sorry, Shane Beamer.
What side of the ball was he on?
I thought he played on the offensive side.
Well, I'm not talking about playing. Yes, he was. I think he was a wide receiver, but I'm talking about
coming from.
No, he was. Well, no, he played. He did a little bit of both coaching, but more on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, he was all over the place.
He was all over the place.
Okay.
So, he actually coached.
Hugh Freeze at Auburn was more offensive minded.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hugh Freeze was. Yeah.
Lane Kiffin, we know the answer there.
Pure offense. Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah. So it's a good question. It's a mixed bag, right? I think it's probably. If we went through everything, it's probably right down the middle or close to it.
Pretty close.
55-45.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I'm going to get off here, let you get some other callers. Wanted to call in, tell you about what the town and everything, what we saw come through Cincinnati and all. But wanted to just chime in. And y'all have a good, safe weekend, guys.
Safe travels. Safe travels,
Thank you, Tony. All right, we'll come back. More of the McFarland Show on the other side next.
Nashville's first curling venue is here at T-Line Nashville. Come check out T-Line Nashville and experience the world's fastest growing winter sport today. Curling is a fun and simple sport that's a perfect outing for friends, corporate events, families, or parties. T-Line also has classic bowling and modern bowling mini games. With over 20 HD TVs, you can come watch your favorite teams and some of the best food and drinks here in Nashville in the large bar and grill area. They also have an outdoor area with a fire pit, and you can't forget the live music. T-Line Nashville is a one-stop shop for a great night out. Located at 106 Duluth Avenue and online at tlinenash.com. You can book your party now or give them a call at 615-439-1024. That's 615-439-1024. And make sure you give them a follow on Instagram and Facebook at T-Line Nash for all the news, events, and updates. T-Line Nashville. Nashville's first curling venue is here.
Attention. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, this message is for you. Congress has passed $80 billion in funding to more than double the size of the IRS. 87,000 new IRS employees means more audits, collections, and penalties. This will make the IRS larger than the Pentagon, State Department, FBI, and Border Control combined. Now is the time to call Civic Tax Relief.
I owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Their tax resolution specialists can stop the IRS from taking money out of your paycheck.
With Civic Tax Relief, they were able to save me upwards of $80,000 that I would have had to pay.
For your free tax relief information, call now. 800-841-0908. 800-841-0908.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
800-841-0908.
It's the afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
Coming off his second straight SEC win, this one at the bank. Clark Lee, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, this is my favorite time of the week to be with you guys, so I'm happy to be here.
If you think that's not going to be on a promo, Clark, you are sadly mistaken,
Clark,
sir.
you just made the haters so furious, so thank you very much.
The afternoon stretch. Afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
Little programming note for tomorrow morning. Picking with the Pickers. That is on the Greg and John show. Greg Pogue, John Burton. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, their very special guest.
Yeah?
One Brian Jordan.
Wait a minute. I know that name.
Yeah.
Brian Jordan?
Yes.
The Brian Jordan?
Well, I don't.
The Atlanta Braves, Atlanta Falcons.
Correct.
Brian Jordan?
Correct.
Yeah.
St. Louis Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinals. One of three guys off the top that played both, baseball professionally and football professionally, in like the same year.
Yep. I bet you Greg doesn't I bet he doesn't mention the Cardinals in his resume. You want to bet?
Probably not.
Yeah. I don't think he will.
No.
He'll conveniently leave that
Well,
part out.
it's all about he was the Mr. Double Atlanta guy.
No, you know why I say that? Because I remember him coming through playing the Sounds, going to Sounds games, and he was playing for Memphis on a rehab stint.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I was like, dang, Brian Jordan is in center field.
It's amazing who you get to see.
I know. On the rehab stints?
On the rehab stints.
I know.
It is unreal. When you sit and think about it, sometimes I wish we had saved some of those scorecards from Nashville Sounds baseball games, because when you look back on it,
I saw some pretty cool players.
Saw some amazing guys.
Todd Stottlemyre come in and pitch.
Know who you saw. Saw Mo Vaughn one day playing for Salt Lake. Somebody, but you didn't know it was Mo Vaughn at the time.
Oh, I went to the First Horizon. They're in their new digs, and saw Barry Zito pitch for the Sounds. Barry Zito was pitching for the Sounds.
That's pretty special.
Who I think lives here still, right? I mean,
I've heard that.
I know he's been here for a while, unless he moved.
A lot of people live here.
I know.
That you would never even think of. Just, who lives here? Really? Why?
My son, I probably shouldn't even say it, but I mean, whatever. I mean, if he's here, he's here. My son has been taking hitting lessons this offseason with a guy that's in the Cardinals organization. He's He's double. I think he's going to maybe even start AAA for Memphis this year.
Yeah.
He's great. He's great. I learned through him, and I probably shouldn't, but Juan Yepes lives here in town.
Okay. All right.
For the Cardinals.
Yeah. That's crazy.
When we went to the Cardinals game in June against the Marlins, when we went there to go play in the World Series, we went to the Cardinals game. Juan Yepes was playing in that game.
You just never know.
He lives here.
It's Nashville.
It's like, what?
You just
Juan
never know.
Yepes lives in that. What?
I
know. You would think we'd stop being surprised, right?
Yeah.
You would think
You
that
just
we would
never
be
know.
like,
You
oh,
just
what?
never know. It's Nashville.
I know. But I still get surprised. It's amazing. Let's go to Mike in Melrose. Mike, what's up?
Good afternoon. Yeah, speaking of Barry Zito, he lives close to a school where I just retired from, over close to the governor's mansion. Actually, I think he just bought another house where they're using one for a recording studio. He's in the music business.
Yeah.
And,
so what does he do? Is that just what he does now? Just dabbles in music?
Yeah, he's played at some local clubs around town. I see his name, and I think he writes also, or a publisher, something like that. But yeah, he's really getting into it. And just speaking of all the players, my dad used to own the Sounds, and I am in charge of all the scrapbooks. My mom collected everything. I probably got 20 scrapbooks here now, so maybe someday if you want to get together, we can look and see all the great players that come through here, including my favorite, Don Mattingly.
Well, who ironically just
got into the
signed
whole
up
thing,
to be a part,
Nashville
I guess,
baseball.
an ambassador for the Nashville Stars. So to help, again, look, I'm rooting for him. I want MLB in Nashville. I don't know what, other than I get, I feel like daily emails from him. I don't know what that means. Like Don Mattingly is on their board. Okay, great, but what does that mean? I mean, until Major League Baseball says we're going to
expand.
Yeah. I mean, what are we talking about?
And they've said they're not going to expand until the situations in Tampa and Oakland get figured out.
Well, great. That's been going on for 15 years.
Yeah. Which is why they haven't expanded.
Well, didn't y'all ran a story the other day saying that they were planning on expanding this year? That y'all got word from that from somebody?
Well,
MLB?
again, I hear that stuff. I talk to people in the know in baseball, and I feel like every offseason I've been hearing this, but, Mike, it never happens. So, look, I thought, honestly, when COVID happened, I thought, look, if there was ever going to be a time to expand, this is when Major League Baseball is going to do it, right? Like right after you come out from 2 bad years revenue-wise or 2 major dips, like the fastest way to get owners their money back is what? Expand, right? And charge $1 billion or whatever you're going to charge for your startup. So I really thought that's when they would do it, but here we sit, 2023, and nothing's happening.
But to your point, they have said in the past that 2023 is when they've thought about, the time they would start talking about expansion. But they said that a few years ago. They set this benchmark. So have things moved around since then? Probably so. And the groundswell, I've heard a lot of, and by the way, the Nashville Stars organization, and God bless them and good luck to them. I've got nothing against them, but they're not the only people getting ready for whenever MLB expands. There are other cities putting together other ownership groups who are trying to do the exact same thing and be in position for when Major League Baseball decides we're going to grant somebody 2 more teams. So, it'll be interesting to see which direction they go in.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of odd at Mattingly because he's the hitting coach now for the Blue Jays. I guess that's not considered a conflict of interest, but anyway, I hope we get it. And they're talking about they're not going to need any money from public money that I don't know who the owners are. They never even talk about that.
Well, there's a bunch of investors, yeah. But go ahead, Mike. Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know what they have in order. I don't know if they have the money. I don't know. I mean, I hope they do. I hope they've got their ducks in a row. Look, I have talked to all of them many times, including Dave Stewart, many times, and it's great. I enjoy it, and I hope this. But I know they've talked to the folks over at TSU. There's a plot of land.
Yep.
I know that it's great, but do they have?
And by the way,
Dave Stewart, the last time I talked to him, he told me, Justin, I was like, what are you trying to raise? Like, what kind of money are you trying to put together? It's like $5 billion. It's like, okay, great, but I mean, that's not exactly easy. I'd like to get $5 billion put together too.
I mean, by the way, he mentioned, I don't know why if it would be a conflict of interest or something. You can't have a conflict of interest of something that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Well, didn't Tony La Russa come here and he was a part of it, and then he was he was the manager. So
it doesn't. There's no team.
Dave Dombrowski is the GM for the Phillies.
There is a movement or a group of people getting together with the hopes of being in position in case Major League Baseball expands, but they have not expanded. There's been no announcement of an expansion. So until there is,
how could it be a conflict? Right? Technically they don't exist. All right, we'll come back, wrap up Thursday's edition next.
Located at 5410 Murfreesboro Road in the heart of Laverne, City Slickers is one-stop shopping for all your liquor, beer, and wine needs and has been a multiple winner annually in the Best of Rutherford County voting for Best Liquor Store and Top Wine Shop. Featuring the lowest prices, the best customer service with unsurpassed knowledge, City Slickers offers the largest craft beer selection in Rutherford and southeastern Davidson counties and has beer on tap at its Growler filling station. City Slickers also sells mixers, sodas, snacks, tobacco products, and the Tennessee Lottery, and can place special orders and assist with all your events and even wedding planning. Make sure you follow City Slickers on all their social media or just give them a call at 615-280-7469. That's 615-280-7469. Located in the heart of Laverne, City Slickers.
Are you looking for a trusted partner who knows AT&T business inside and out? ABS Communications is an organization built on the premise that telecom solutions and working with companies like AT&T can often be complicated, and the customer needs someone to help them navigate through these complexities. They make complex simple. Whether it's helping maintain, manage, or secure your business, ABS Communications is here to help with all your business telecom and mobility needs. Their business was built with the goal of simplifying the process of connectivity for the customer and establishing a long-term relationship of trust through transparency and accountability. ABS Communications is a top 5 AT&T authorized agent with over 200 years of AT&T technical experience. You can call Mark and the gang at 615-349-8588, or you can visit their website at abscomm.net. And remember, mention the McFarland Show to ABS and you could get up to $250 in a Visa gift card for new ABS business customers.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Austin Hardy is your go-to agent in the Middle Tennessee community for the service you desire at the price you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Austin Hardy has you covered. Call 615-810-9999 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
It's a Bill King Show.
Somebody asked me, this ascension of Tennessee football, is it sustainable? I think it is sustainable. Their recruiting ranking school. You can get A-plus personnel to Rocky Top, Tennessee. And the state is now way better than it ever was in its past, producing players.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
The Titans signed Justin Rigg, a tight end, to a futures contract.
What do the futures contracts? That's a question we should ask Jim. I've never understood the concept of the futures contracts or what they mean.
Just practice squad guys, aren't they? That's what it is.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
But why are they labeling them futures contracts if they're just practice squad guys?
Maybe that's the nicer way to. That's the nicer way to put it in 2023.
Okay, I mean
futures. Like, hey, man, you're not a practice squad. You're our future.
Okay.
I said it's just a nice way.
You did, because they're saying it in such a nice way.
Look, in all seriousness, they get paid pretty well.
I'm sure they do. Listen, I'm not knocking the guys. It's not the guys. It's whatever. I just don't understand the concept of what the futures thing is supposed to be. The same way I asked Jim, what's an offensive, skills, coordinator or whatever, whatever it is.
Yeah, I told you what it was.
Yes.
Pizza. Guy gets the pizza.
That's not what Jim said.
Lunch.
That is not what Jim said.
It's coffee in the morning.
That's not what Jim said.
Something like that.
Okay, but that's not what Jim said.
No. Derek Carr said today, thanks for the memories, Raiders fans.
Yeah.
But peace out. I'm out of here. I'm gone.
You know,
I'll be somewhere else.
Looked it up here just to see Derek Carr there with the Raiders organization, shall we call them, for a very long time here. Derek Carr, 142 games with the Raiders, 63 wins, 79 losses. He's been a part of a lot of losing football for the Raiders. He's had some successes, I think 3 winning seasons, but no playoff wins with the Raiders.
I'll be very curious to see where he lands next year.
Some GM somewhere is licking his chops. They can't wait to get Derek Carr in town and thinks that he's got the talent to get him over the top. Somebody does.
Yeah. And the easy answer would be the way they've been doing things is the Colts. But they're not going to do that anymore. I think they're getting out of that business.
I think this is finally the year where they're going to take a quarterback and try to figure it out like everybody else has been doing.
Carolina's not afraid of the shuffle.
Well, they got to figure out what they're doing at coach first.
Yeah, true. All right, that'll do it for our show today. Look forward to wrapping up the week tomorrow starting at 2 o'clock. We'll see you then. Afternoon Stretch is next.